Hi everybody, Bob and Haas, founder of Entrepreneur House. It is a new year for a lot of new opportunities, and I want to get here on video really quick and just say Happy New Year. And I think with Entrepreneur House, what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time in the first part of the year, and we're going to talk to those of you entrepreneurs that have thought about entering the race. So typically at Entrepreneur House, we work with the entrepreneur that has sort of got something going and they're just struggling and they need our help to help balance that work. But you know what I thought? I thought it'd be really interesting to talk to some of you who do reach out to us at Entrepreneur House and say, how do I start a business? Or I'm working full time and how do I make that work? And the number one thing I love to tell these entrepreneurs is it's not as easy as just quitting your job, launching a business, and making $1 million. In fact, I'm not as risky as a lot of my other entrepreneurial friends. It could be the fact that when you have kids, you just lose that risk scenario. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to use this video and talk to you guys and sort of share some concepts that I've gone through with entrepreneurs looking to start that business. So let's say, for example, you're working full-time somewhere. For the most part, you're not happy, or maybe you're just not making enough money to make your bills. And that's totally normal in today's economy. And you're thinking, you know what, if I look at entrepreneurship, if I find something that I'm really good at, I can make millions of dollars and scale and buy big homes and boats and okay. Before you get there, let's talk about what you actually need to keep in mind before you enter the race of entrepreneurship. See, entrepreneurship is a self-management principle. The idea is for you to succeed in what you want to do is you have to have a lot of self-discipline. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, if you want to enter entrepreneurship, how are you going to self-discipline yourself? Now, and I'm probably going to spell this wrong because I am not a very good speller. You don't have to be as an entrepreneur. That's the advantage. So how are you going to discipline yourself? And by that I mean, how are you going to ensure that when you do start this pursuit that you're going to commit time, you're going to commit resources, which yes, can mean money, and you're going to commit yourself. And by commit yourself, I mean, how are you going to make sure that you have an accountability partner? Now, your accountability partner can be someone else who's looking to start an entrepreneur business. It could be your best friend. It could be your spouse. It could be anyone you think that can hold you accountable to be disciplined to work on this idea. And when I say work on this idea, I'm not telling you to quit your job and do it. This is something you're going to do on evenings and weekends or holidays, because we all know as entrepreneurs we don't really take holidays. But you need to figure that out first. How are you going to discipline? That's the first thing to figure out. The second thing is you need to figure out time. Now, I know that sounds like it's a bit of discipline as well, but time's a bit different, because with time, especially if you're in a marriage or if you have kids, time is very difficult to come across. And then if you have friends, time is really not that easy. So what you need to do is you need to start looking at your calendar. And I want you to look for 3 months. I want you to look, we're in January now, I want you to go from January to March, and I want you to look at every night and every evening and every weekend you have, and I want you to preset time. I want you to dedicate time to work on your idea. And here's the thing, I don't just want you to write in there, work on idea. I want you to go into your calendar and I want you to work on the idea and write what you're going to do that day. So what I'm telling you is I'm not expecting you to completely have a completed idea in your first day or in your first week. You're going to take baby steps. So I want you to first talk about, maybe the first day is figuring out if your idea is something you really want to do. Make a list of the stuff that makes you happy, and if your idea is in there, great. And the next time, maybe it's going to be about how are you going to fund this idea? Do you have savings? Do you have something that you can rely on? After that, is this idea even going to work? How are you going to validate that idea? How are you going to make sure that it's something that can actually earn money? So you're going to schedule this in your calendar for 3 months. Yes, I know a lot of you assume entrepreneurship is just instant, like a lottery ticket. It is not. You need to dedicate and spend that time. And I'm going to tell you another trick about doing this as well. When you spend those 3 months, and when you take your time to slowly articulate and create whatever it is you want to build, you're going to know really quickly if you even still want to do this. Here's the thing. I do get to meet a lot of people who get excited about an idea, who love the idea of entrepreneurship, but the commitment, not so much. This 3 months is going to make sure that it's something that you really want to do and that you really want to stick with. So we have discipline, we have time, and I kind of touched this on this earlier as well, but we need to talk about resources. And again, yes, that does mean money, and that can mean time, but what resources really means is, do you have the capacity in your life to do this? Understand, entrepreneurship it's every day, it's every hour. until you get to a place where you can hire staff and have a fully functional system in your business, you have nothing else. So if you have classes, if your kids have activities, if you're taking care of an aging parent, if you're in a new relationship and you really want to pursue, you need to realize, do you have the capacity or the bandwidth to dedicate to this? That's another thing to consider. So before you jump off that cliff and say, yes, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I want you to think about, how are you going to set up a disciplined system for yourself? I want you to schedule and dedicate that time in your calendar, and I want you to look at your resources, the capacity you have to do this financially, to do this with your time, and to do this with all the other activities that you have going on. All right? Thanks for joining us today, guys. Keep tuning in. We're going to do more videos on more tips to get you started.